Leviathan are flooding Abyss with gallons of their brand new harbor tech, and he hits hard. Match after match, this South American juggernaut gets carried by this bottom-of-the-barrel agent. Each round win looking more and more convincing that Riot's newest map is Harbor's Paradise. But isn't this controller the worst in Valorant? Throughout champs, Harbor yields one of the lowest pick percentages in the game. There's no shot he backpacks this hard. Well, old me, you're stupid. Because in this video, I'm busting down the dam to this new meta tsunami and drowning everyone in Harbor's secret sauce.
What did they expect?
I'll be honest, watching this Harbor gameplay was really refreshing. Seeing new agents crack the meta is a great change of pace, kinda like trying new games, like StarCraft X. In this game, explore the exciting atmosphere of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. StarCraft X features intense PvP, or PvE if you're tired of bad teammates, all while having multiple updates a month. StarCraft is a time-tested and rapidly growing MMO that provides a fascinating storyline that leans heavily into the unique atmosphere of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. So if you're looking for a balanced game for all levels of players and a strong and active gaming community, then join now. Because as I'm recording this, the Black Raid is going on, where you take on the role of black market mercenaries. You infiltrate a secret base on the isolated island of Borel. Your task is to steal advanced technology and evacuate before time runs out. The aftermath of the experiments run on the island has led to the emergence of a variety of creatures with unique abilities, making the mission even more challenging and thrilling. But wait, there's more. Whether you're a new or returning player, there's a huge welcome bonus for you guys as long as you use my code in the special field. So if you want to join in on the hottest MMO of the season while at the same time support me, then download StarCraft by clicking the link down in the description. I love the smell of a new map. That means teams are experimenting with all sorts of different comps, trying out a vast assortment of agent combinations, all racing to be the ones who define the new meta. And Leviathan's Harbor game plan looks like it might be the next big thing. For their pistol strat, these three contacted on B main with two sheriffs. With Harbor in the backline, his job was to throw up his high tide as soon as his team got the first blood. This death ball should be enough to spook the offense into running into raid boss Aspas on A, who has another sheriff. But why have teams all across the globe been investing so heavily into deagles on pistol round? Well, the answer is quite complex, and it took me weeks of research and inward reflection to figure out. These motherfuckers hit hard. Yeah, that's really it. Pros have good aim, and sheriffs do a lot of damage. But it was G2 who got the first blood. Their plan was to scale up close to B with their lurk wall, drop it, pop the nebula, and pressure the site. This default done early later plays mind games with the defense, as whenever these smokes go up and down, there could be attackers behind them. But this kill has forced Lev to back off, and Mazzino recover the fallen hand cannon. Then the offense went back to A, saw Aspas there, and was like, yeah, no, we're good. Headed back to B, and it was the sheriffs who came out on top.
Forget about sneaking in, they just want to take the fight.
But the wall didn't even go up. The timing on that, it just wasn't quite there.
Keep a close eye on the middle of the map. You've got two players who are going for a late flank, and Leaf, I mean, a bullet between his eyes, never stood a shot. Icy and Jonah P. Left into, what, a 2v4, a little bit messy there. Oh gosh, it's messy everywhere, isn't it? Mazzino has gotten 3 on the round. He's trying to tuck tail, he's trying to get away. Icy, no real idea where he is. What is it? What is this? What is this game of cat? What is this game of cat and mouse? Mazzino gets his fourth, the defuse will come through, and Lev will get the pistol.
Exactly.
Then on round 2, Harbor got shot in the face, which is honestly the worst agent to go down out of these 5. Abyss is insanely attack-sided since rotation times are incredibly long, there's like a total of 2 spots to play in each site if you're trying to anchor down, and the meta plant spots are extremely spammable, meaning your retakes need to be flawless. But Lev are fine since they had rifles, right?
Those 2 bullets cost him his life. Not able to punish, but they did manage to get the spike down. The paranoia's all the way out. Trent and Valen both weak. King trying to hunt him down. He will succeed. And Jonah's gonna have to pull off one of the most ridiculous plays we've ever seen, and he's 2 steps closer to doing it. Tex is so weak. He's gotten 3, but the defuse is gonna come through. Surely there's no time.
What?
He gets the kills!
Okay, well, a Cove would have made that round a lot less close. But that brings us to the bonus, where we finally get to witness Harbor's kit take over. Lev start their bonus in a 1-1-3, I think, because we missed 7 seconds of the round to stare at Calm's face. But their plan was to apply heavy pressure in mid with their High Tide and Omen teleport, threatening that someone could be pushed up into bot mid. This space is extremely underrated on this map, as it can be used to form deadly crossfires, hear rotates, and ruin the attacker's post plans. Now, because of these question marks, G2 are forced to burn their dimensional drift from this far back and use it to split B while setting up Killjoy for a late lurk. Yoru makes it into spawn, Astra smokes provide him cover to come out of his ult, and the site is theirs. The rest of G2 are making their way onto site, and Lev are moving over to retake. But since the entire defense are here, they want to flood in as soon as G2 start to plant. Trent taps, Lev blind and run out. Harbor blocks off site, but Trent gets one from back site, and the rest of his team have abandoned him. Astra finally jumps back in, the offense are divided, but Calm takes down Leaf in mid. This perfectly set up lurk is down. G2 have lost a ton of space, and Calm knows this. He immediately darts bot mid and sprints down catwalk and into attacker spawn. G2 are now in deep. Because of this kill, there's a possibility that Calm flanks through Bend and splits apart this post plant. Oh, and by the way, Leaf gave him a Vandal. But Calm's taking a detour. He's calling to his teammates to just shake some booty and pretend that they're retaking. Doing so should take the focus off this flank and instead on the site players. So Mazzino cascades once, and then twice, allowing his teammates to inch up close to the offense. How well is this bait working?
This is all just buying time, but time really goes the way of G2 here.
Calm is all the way behind. He hears Icy running around. He's gonna get a free kill, maybe.
But again, the spike has been going on for so long. I mean, at best, what, they contain him here? Or they just frag him through, they're just gonna mow him over. That's so well played.
And disastrous for G2. It's all off of the back of Calm, though.
The flood potential from Harbor's big-ass cascades and then later jiggle peeking was enough to distract G2 and convert a game-shifting bonus round. On the following anti-eco, Harbor's instant High Tide caused major problems for the offense. Last round, they had Yoru's dimensional drift, but not this time. Sova tried to dart and clear the area, that got snapped. Then G2 tried smugging off top cat, but with nothing else happening around the map, King had a feeling.
Going into the way that you lost the last 2 rounds. It's so damning on the mental.
Yeah, especially in this last one. And now King is doing that? Trent was on his way down.
Doug, it feels like it's getting out of control.
By using your big wall early like this, you create immense amounts of pressure that you could be pushed up in wide combinations of crossfires. Plus, that's how you min-max Harbor. But Sova's recon is easy to break and doesn't clear a ton, and his Alodrome barely lasts longer than I do. After dropping the eco, G2 took a timeout where they probably talked about this annoying mid-wall, but the defense aggroed B instead, high-tiding it later to create the same type of pressure we've seen in mid, but on B. Then G2 took a long time to do anything, but Mazzino somehow gave them the first blood? If you're Harbor, it's really important you're alive for your team's retakes, or just not dying out in the open. Lev lost a 2v1 where a Harbor really could have helped, and then on round 6, G2 went B and locked down site with their Viper's Pit. You either run through this fart cloud and get put down to 1 HP, or fly out of heaven. Pick your poison. G2 stalled out the defuse, putting them down only 2 rounds. Now Lev are taking a timeout to fix this leak. Both teams are coming out of the timeout with brand new game plans. In Lev's 2-1-2, they're going to try and get early information on the wings to have rotates in at the right spots at the right time. The smokes to pressure B, causing the offense to make some noise, and Sova on A. And now G2 want to default B main, leave mid for now since it's been a problem, and come back once it's low tide. Get it, like low tide. The round opens up and the defense immediately apply pressure with their High Tide and smoke for heaven. With not a lot of room to operate and coming out of a timeout, G2 think that Lev are up to something aggressive like they've seen multiple times. So Leaf thinks mid might be free.
Oh, G2, they gotta be very careful.
It was a trap! Leaf moved up mid thinking B was contested, but in reality, neither Sova nor Harbor saw anything. Someone had to be moving behind this smoke. After losing their Killjoy, G2 clear the smokes with the recon, triggering Calm to grab the A orb. He understands that Sova's travel with the pack, so this space should be free. He jiggles, backs up, continues to spot for info, but Astra's heard him. Calm could potentially be out of position and get jumped. So all of G2 gather outside of A main, Yoru jumps into his dimensional drift and starts clearing every nook and cranny. But look! Instead of smoking heaven, the offense have pushed their smoke deeper to take more space. The offense recognized that both of Lev's controllers are alive and have to play up. Playing back for spam won't be easy with a million smokes plus a cove. Now Com concedes heaven with Yoru on the loose, but the rest of his team are already here, and they know that they have to retake A, starting with heaven.
King does have a paranoia. This is danger. There's the paranoia.
Great paranoia.
It's only 1 for 1 though. How much more can they find? Trent down low. Into the face of 2 up over the top. Gives up on the first, connects on the second. Icy and Valorant left alone to try to make a stand in this round, to try to keep them back in the face of 3.
He has 1 flash.
And there it is, invested, the spam coming through. Now he's on his own. Oh, he repositioned so beautifully, but Aspas knew exactly where he was. King will get the defuse, Lev will get to 5.
Lev's retake was squeaky clean. Because of this smoke and the sheer power of the retakes, G2 were going to play in more aggressive positions to combat them. So the defense flushed out heaven with a paranoia and cascade, but didn't have anyone coming out of spawn. Now this is where Harbor's versatility shines. He walled off site in such a way that anyone who was playing back site was useless. Retaking on Abyss is key, and lucky for Lev, that's Harbor's middle name. Lev have a different flavor setup for the next full buy. Throughout the half, Aspas has started A with his op, but now he's playing towards B. Why? Well, there's a couple reasons. 1, it's always good to keep the op on the move so you don't get predictable. And 2, Lev have a disgusting combo featuring Com's Hunter's Fury. When the round starts, he's ripping a recon lineup into A main. If this gets broken, it'll trigger Omen's paranoia, and this big laser will destroy anyone in this lane. It's way harder to see when you're nearsighted, but we won't get to see it. I know, but G2 are finally going to disrespect this high tide and use these lurk smokes that I mentioned on Pistol to creep up and surprise the defense. But with an op here, their timings have to be perfect. The round opens up with the same blue wall we've seen before, but G2 aren't phased. They put up their green shield and walk on through. In the meantime, Com's dart hasn't tagged anything, so they back up, and G2 put up their second lurk smoke and move on in.
They're the ones that are putting up a ridiculous performance.
And when they do, it's just a wash.
Aspas has his off. There are 4 waiting on the other side. The smoke comes through. The peek comes out.
It's a leg shot.
Enough to buy some time. Tex with 10 HP, continuing to fight.
What a risky play from Tex. The confidence is brewing for Leviathan right now.
Lev's setup has worked. Cypher's cages provided enough cover for Aspas and then Tex to leak out and take safe-ish duels before they had to prep for the retake. But this round is not going to be easy to convert. Lev are all here, but Killjoy's just activated for lockdown, and that's just the tip of the utility iceberg that G2 are prepared to use. Oh, by the way, the spike is literally planted on top of this ledge. Harbor's ability to retake is strong, but is it enough to combat all of this?
They've gotten into post-plant situations, but they lose the plot at this point. They've been here. They've got to find a way to find success here. Lockdown dealt with. Now they're going to have to deal with all of these deep walls. What's the second layer? Is there a second layer? It's off the tap. 2 kills already found.
And a cast, yeah.
And now they have the cove. They can play around. Mazzino's going to get spammed as he tried to get aggressive. But it still hasn't, it hasn't gotten half yet. Trent still has a shot at this, but how do you deal with the targets? How do you deal with Aspas? How do you deal with Com?
Yeah.
Once again, another crystal clear retake. Now, some of this does have to do with how G2 planted. If possible, it's much better to plant in these corners rather in this lane, because when you run back to play your post plant, you just have way more spots to contest the defuse from. But planting here can be risky, and with Aspas running around with an op and Tex ratting around his cages, Trent probably didn't feel too safe. But this plant funneled G2 into this small rectangle, and everything from Lev was laid out to perfection. Smoke to lock them in, high tide to cover the spike, cove after the nano, even though they ended up having another. But Harbor has been generating so much pressure in these post plants with his smokes and shield that G2 never had a chance to retake, even with an arsenal of delay. Lev have noticed that G2 have stopped respecting their initial B high tide by using their lurk smokes as cover, so they've come up with a clever counter. The Jets move back to A, Omen spotting mid, while Cypher and Harbor set up a trap based around this spy cam and G2's smokes. In their 4-1, they're going to do the same thing as last time. I mean, they got on site, and they got Sova's ult to spam. The barriers drop, Harbor flips up his wall, G2 put theirs up, and then their orb.
The star we saw from earlier is to counter this exact play.
Possibly.
Lev's adjustment has worked. By placing his spy cam high on this wall, he spotted over this lurk smoke and told Harbor when and where exactly to spam. And now with this trip and unexpected off angle that he hasn't played in all game, Harbor can now leave to stack the rest of the map. Now after claiming B, G2 leave Valen there to lurk, while the rest of the pack slowly moves up library. They lost a player and desperately need an equalizer, and then some. But Lev have everything on lock. Jet has a deep line on A, Cypher on B, meaning that these mid players are expecting some form of aggression.
Yeah, this is very difficult for G2 to break through.
The dart's not going to tag anyone out from Com, but as soon as the trip gets cleared, King realizes what's ahead of him.
Paranoia. Oh, it doesn't connect. What?
Spike down.
Valen killed Tex.
That's a ridiculous shot, but Mazzino's still gotten 3 on the round.
30 seconds left.
And for as much as G2 try dialing up something different, as much as G2 try creating chaos, I mean, Lev are just a step ahead.
There's always an answer.
As soon as this trapwire got snipped, Lev responded perfectly. Sova and Harbor gave up their positions to crunch mid, and Cypher went skydiving. Because so much of the offense were here, he figured that his space had to be either relatively weak or free. But making this jump is really risky. He probably should have held his ground since he had this trip and Jet was on her way. But the best part was how Harbor didn't even give Valen a chance. As soon as he recognized the spike was dropped and Cypher was calling out that Astra was on her way, he deployed his cove, preventing Valen from getting a favorable 1v1 since Mazzino was really low. Time and time again, we've seen Harbor's utility, positioning, and decision-making make the right choice to secure pivotal rounds. G2 take their second time out to soak up this mess. Coming out of the timeout, both teams have new game plans. G2 recognized that almost every round so far, the defense have someone posted up on top mid. So in their 1-3-1, Yoru is ready to punish. But Lev have changed their setup. Mazzino has his Reckoning online, so they're prepared to play heavy retake on B, leave a tripwire in mid since it's really difficult to push down this deep, and stack A. Here, Omen has his Paranoia lined up to flush through main, allowing Sova's Recon to get tags and as-fast frag. Leviathan makes the first move by high-tiding B and smoking stairs. But G2 are patient. Icy has sent his gate crash down library and has grouped up inside Omen's dark cover. Valen puts down 2 stars, Trent rips his dart, and it doesn't get broken. Yoru takes his teleport, and he's made it past this trapwire, damn near into enemy spawn. Yoru is the only agent capable of a play like this. Because mid is longer than Shaq on stilts, he can take this initial teleport and just send one back to get out. He does just that. And now that mid is secure, Sova backs off to go pressure A, but Killjoy goes and takes his spot on stairs. She moves up and uses ghost mode to phase through the door? I'm just kidding. Early in the round, she busts down the door 2 vents. This space is the perfect hiding spot for lurkers as you have natural cover with the other door protecting your back. From here, you can perfectly hear rotates and tell your teammates to rotate and hit the subscribe button. Leaf slots himself in, and by looking at the map, it feels like G2 are in the driver's seat. But they're not. Remember, Lev are retaking B, so Harbor's left to go help out on A. But back here, he can hear Yoru's teleport. They know he's in this area and are ready to contain, fight, and retake. And now with Killjoy and Yoru generating so much pressure on mid, the bulk of G2 are headed towards B. Com darts, Valen walls, and now the defense know it's B, but they have to be careful rotating. Leaf can hear every step. He knows Jet's gone, and King's used his ult. But does he know that he went right behind his teammates? And Com is going for the double flank?
King has to be careful, waiting on the other side of the box, but they don't expect him, they don't know he's there! And again, King makes claim for the throne!
And you know what? Com goes unchecked, unnoticed now.
Here.
The contingency plan, again.
It falls apart, they've gotten the spike down, but this time Leaf might be able to equalize!
Last player standing.
What a filthy 3K, but again, Com has to do it on his own. He's spotted Icy, he's gonna try to flush him out, switch to the classic, and Icy cleans him up! G2 gets a 3!
Honestly, Lev should have won this round. These 2 flanks were great, but Harbor's the one who set them up. Before the spike was fully down, Mazzino activated his Reckoning and raised his wall, making G2 think that Lev were flooding quick. All game, the offense has been getting rocked by the defenders' retakes, that at this point, they're petrified of them, like cats afraid of water. This set up King to get 2, but Leaf was G2's hero. Because none of Leviathan rotated through mid, Leaf was never cleared out and timed his lurk perfectly to throw a huge wrench in Lev's retake. I mean, just look at that third shot. It's disgusting. Throughout the first half, Harbor's retakes have been on point, but he's just as wet on attack. Lev's pistol strat is to slam AS5, while G2 are set up to get Yoru a safe initial duel with these smokes. He teleports out, Viper puts up her wall, Astra pops to the star, and the attackers are forced to either jump into Viper's loving arms or push through this wall twice. Then in mid, these three are here to form a jumbo crossfire while they leave a turret and Nano to stall for the retake on A. But Lev are going to force their way into this site, so much so that Cypher is ditching a trapwire for a Sheriff and Omen, no paranoia, a ghost. But Teets, how are they going to hold flank? Not having trips is so troll. Hey Timmy, how do players hold flank in games like Counter-Strike or Call of Duty? I don't know. Those games suck. God, you're so spoiled. They use their eyes. This sightline is long enough to keep a spy cam posted and checked periodically. Unless someone sprints with their knife out, Cypher's signature should do a good enough job. Now the round starts quietly. Lev scaling from multiple elevations with their better guns. But once they get to the entrance, Harbor walls off both Heaven and Spawn, Omen smokes default, and Heaven too? He teleports alongside Jet into his dark cover, the recon clears sight, and it's theirs. Now here's where things get interesting. 9 times out of 10, teams plant in any of these spots as the space defenders have to defuse are limited. But Mizzino has planted on the left side of site, signaling that they're here to brawl. But another problem is that A site doesn't have a lot of spots to play in. These crossfires are easy to break up.
Valen, be careful. Tex into the face, not able to connect. Leviathan again. The value that they're able to find here is ridiculous. G2 are not able to get any footing on the situation. A tap of the defuse, but that's all it is. As Jonah P meets his demise, he's been dealt with. As has G2. Another pistol the way of Lev.
This retake had so many layers, like an onion. Because Lev are running 2 versatile controllers, these two are able to recycle smokes on Heaven despite wasting one earlier. I mean, if you want to retake out of Heaven, what are you gonna do? Fly out? That's hard when your flashes went spawn. These smokes made it way safer to play on site. But even when this crossfire was broken, Harbor slid up into his Omen smoke, got one, and split the site in half. I mean, does anyone feel confident enough to blindly push through this wall? You kinda have to go through this left side. This was the first time I've ever seen a team plant here before, and the same for G2. Most prefer to just play back in A main for spam. And Icy tried to get behind the stranglehold Lev had, but the attackers were just too ready. On the bonus, all of G2 jumped off the cliff. Want to know why? Then watch this video. But because they did, it's G2's first full buy, and they have to face against Aspas's op. Anyone trying to peek for info needs to do so with caution. Lev's plan is to create a ton of pressure in mid with Harbor's kit, while Cypher and Omen play the wings passively for information. But G2 have invested into a crutch of their own. With Yoru's ability to be anywhere and everywhere with just the snap of his fingers, wrong agent, a flick of his wrists, this skill cannon should find value no matter where Lev end up. He's starting A, but has his gate crash for mid short after. Viper and Sova play for info, and these two anchor. Round 15 begins with Mizzino slicing mid in half, Comp pinning a deep recon to clear out the whole front half, and a shock to snip a potential trip. Trent answers back with a recon of his own, instantly being broken. Bogeys are in mid, but who? And how many? But Lev aren't finished. Mizzino starts taking pot shots, King smokes deeper, and Comp breaks open vents from a cheeky angle. But enough is enough. Who the hell's in mid? Trent activates his Aldrone as Harbor's high tide falls. It spots nothing. Now, G2 feel like they've done enough. Leaf's turret spots deep into mid, meaning all Trent had to clear was up to this line and leave Timmy alone. Breaking the spot would take such a huge commitment from the offense. But in Lev's mind, someone has to come clear the question marks that they've just created in mid. And Sova's just burned both of his biggest info gathering tools. Someone's gotta peek. So Aspas scales up library, spots the turret, I see now, and breaks it. With this robot broken, mid has become incredibly worrisome and would now take a large commitment from the defense to clear out. Tech slots in to lurk later, and Trent tries re-clearing with the dart, but it's not enough. In the meantime, Lev have burst into A behind a ton of smoke. Wait, why do we keep double smoking Evan? But look, Aspas isn't with the team. Lev don't have a spacemaker. So the offense have used a cascade in one way to move up to the front half of site, let this water wall drop, and use the dart to scale up and around to clear out the backside. Mizzino gets the plant down, but Tex has found a timing. He's walked up mid as soon as Trent's dart faded and needs his teammates to create a distraction. As soon as the spike's planted, King of Mizzino near sight and Cascade Heaven, emulating a similar Heaven take that G2 did with their Your World. But this pressure is all just a big carrot on a stick.
He's got the timing, Doug.
If he continues to go,
He's got it.
he's got to get 2. Oh, what a turn from Trent. Just narrowly avoiding that. So the 1-for-1 continues to go their way. The thing is, they've got, again, Leaf in a really good spot. But Aspas plucks him out of the window. As Trent gets another 2v2. They're both so weak, though. They cannot stand. They cannot deliver.
Wow, Trent's nuts. Lev only need a couple more rounds to flush out G2. Everyone so far, Lev have slammed A. But now, armed with Harbor's Reckoning, it's time to go B and into Viper. But she's packing a couple stars and a versatile retake and anchor wall. Her setup is tough. Without flashes to push through these decaying health walls, that makes pushing into B a nightmare. But with an ability that casts a thunderstorm and also gives your team wall hacks, Lev should be fine. Mizzino initially tries to throw off the defense by cascading down Library, attracting the attention of Sova. He's recon to clear it out, but Lev have contacted up B and are ready to go.
Yeah, but what a boost of confidence it would be.
Yeah.
The Reckoning towards B. And Joe2P's left by himself. Icy was there with him, but TP's away. He's got a lot to answer, all on his own. But he's finding enough cover in all of the utility, all of the smokes. I mean, yeah, Karamas crept forward, but does he realize he's not alone? Does he realize there's company? Yes, he does.
Calm opened up the site, but this lightning bolt told Lev someone was in all of this somewhere. But Harbor's utility funneled his team into backsite. Jumping across danger just isn't a realistic option with all these smokes. Either Viper hears you land and you get spammed, or you'll jump right into her bubble. But by moving up behind the cascade, Calm was able to swing Viper and find the opening, and her teammates quickly scurried behind. But now, Lever's stuck in a giant pickle. Without any smokes, why did we smoke Heaven twice again? They don't have any other option than to wait for Harbor's wall, who, by the way, is the only agent who can flexibly smoke B. Time's up, let's do this. Harbor sends his wall flying, Calm darts, and Mizzino goes for the plant.
You see a dart. You see a Harbor wall go up. Just now, Aspas will creep up forward.
They're still really huddled up. They're all together. Misery loves company, and it's not going their way. Trent and Valen getting a couple, but he's by himself now. Leviathan, again.
Now, I don't know if this was on purpose, but look at the timing of this Harbor wall in recon. G2 placed an Asher Star here that allows the defense to leak out and retake much easier. But Lev waited for the star to turn into a nebula before reconning and raising their wall. Or they were just waiting for them both to recharge and it was a lucky timing. I don't know. Lev were ready for the fast flood, and Harbor gets crowned the King of Abyss. But to be honest, he's also really good on bind. Maybe better. You tell me after watching this video.